of an old tune popularized by Patsy Cline but written by Willie Nelson. Crazy for feeling so lonely. Yes, I'm crazy for feeling so blue. I know you love me and then you'll leave me. Yes, you'll leave me for somebody new. Oh, but I worry. Why do I let myself worry? I'm wondering, what in the world did I do? Oh, yes, I'm crazy for letting your love, oh, control me. Yes, I'm crazy for feeling, crazy for crying for you. And we here at Wine to Water are all crazy for you for joining us tonight. Thank you so much. It really makes such a difference, not only in the efforts of the organization here, but also in the lives of so many people who benefit from this work that's being done. So I'm gonna take a moment here to sing us a little love song, and then we'll sing a song about water if there's time before we begin. Well, you ain't fooling anyone, and it was more than just a kiss. You're the only ones you're betraying if you keep up with this. Still she wants to be with you. She likes the friendship you formed, but your heart is a castle that cannot be stormed. Well, in love, hearts don't fall as frequent as rain, and though you have your differences, it does seem a shame to fight love when she's falling for you. best, but I missed. And now I'm expecting the worst of my fears. So help me, my dear. Though handsome has tempted, imperfections ensnared, now she's always crying, thinking of the calyx in his hair. And she's often left drifting to the dimples in his face, though he told her quite clearly he wouldn't keep pace. And in the end it was timing. They were two ships in the night. She wanted to love him, but it just wasn't right. Well, in love, hearts don't fall as frequent as rain, and though you have your differences, it does seem a shame to fight love when she's fallen. Well, in love, hearts don't fall as frequent as rain, and though you have your differences, it does seem a shame to fight love. When I'm falling for you, again, thanks so much for joining us here today at Wine and Water, and we're just so happy to have you here. My name is Kat Moore, and thanks for having me here as well. It's a pleasure to be part of this event. This is a tune called Rivulets. In honor of all the fresh water that your fundraising efforts will bring to Fangak. Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your energy with us today. Can you hear the drips, the drops, the rivulets? Rivulets run into a rainstorm. Rivulets go to the sea. Run like water. Flowing down the east. Won't you wash yourself clean in those rains as they fall? Oh, if these walls could speak, all those histories we've seen. When the blue above is hidden, and the clouds they rumble nigh, I await their glorious showers. As those tears fall from the sky, Rivulets roll into the ocean. Rivulets go to the sea. As you can see, we've got some beautiful images here of all the work on that beautiful slideshow that you can see all the work that's been happening overseas. So thanks again so much for joining us here today and for being someone involved and active in fundraising for a really great cause. Are lost to these lips, too many miles away. You're bending, you'll break me, just take me away on your song. Northern lights are shining. Sparkling stars are all cast in our nets. Above us, though parted, we see the same sky, and I long for the day when I'll see you again. I float until I hear your voice, and then I fly. The days pass, I let them separate from affection that you've shown. But it helps put a distance between all those feelings I know. Oh yes, it helps put a distance between all those feelings you'd show. Thanks so much for listening, friends. Just shortly here, we'll be kicking off this event. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining us. It's such a pleasure to be here with you all. And thank you so much for your time and your enthusiasm towards fundraising for clean, fresh water. Thanks so much, friends. So great to be a part here. We've got so many great different speakers for you tonight. And there's some learning opportunities in this evening. But most importantly, we're here to celebrate the work that's being done. Let's create a bunch of funds for clean water. And yeah, thanks so much for joining us this evening.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thanks to the beautiful and talented Kat Moore for that lovely musical interlude. You know, you see a lot of things on the internet, and a lot of things you see on the internet aren't worth watching. We're going to do our best to make sure that this is worth watching. You're entertained, you're motivated, and you're inspired. I bid you a fond and hearty welcome to the 11th annual Wine to Water. Many of you know about this event, and those of you that are just tuning in the first time, we will tell you more about this incredible organization and everything they do to help the people in Sudan. For the first time, we are coming live to you from the beautiful Frostline Studios in Spanard. It's very interesting because we also have a lot of people tuning in from all over the country, which is not something that you can do in a live event. So as we go through, we'll point out lots of good reasons why it's nice to be at a live event and all the advantages thereof. I want to remind you that the silent auction is going on now as we speak. You should have received an invitation to it. Hopefully you're checking out those items right now. They put together a great list of items, and the bidding will stop at 6 p.m. Alaska time. So if you're in a different time zone, I'm going to leave it to you to figure out what that equates to. Once again, this event would not be possible without the generous support of some very fine sponsors. A big and hearty thanks to Construction Machinery Industrial, LLC, the Boutte Company, Inc., Partouche Plumbing and Heating, Young's Market Company, the Hotel Captain Cook, Jermaine Dunnigan and Owens. Also, thanks to the companies donating many of the items, including Ski Alaska, Major Marine Tours, Premier Alaska Tours, the Alaska Railroad, Alaska Wildlife Adventures, and many more. Thank you to each and every one of you. And when I thank sponsors, everyone expects that to be part of the routine. But what I want you to do is to take those words to heart. And if you have occasion in your day-to-day businesses, day-to-day travels, frequent these companies, let them know how much you appreciate their support for these events. It makes a world of difference to them, and they make a world of difference to us. Like I said, the silent auction is ongoing. And we have absolutely an incredible piece right here that has not attracted a bid yet. This is an original John Van Zyl oil. It's not a print, it's the original. The computers are good, the cameras are good, but it does not do justice to the detail, the color, the story this picture tells just by looking at it. If you know Alaskan art, you know of John Van Zyl. Again, our thanks go to him for donating this wonderful piece. Make sure you get to the silent auction section and check it out, because as of right now, it has attracted no bids, but it is truly worth having in your home. Also, we want to make sure that you have a beverage of your choice, wine or water, nearby, because we will be having a toast later on. Now I'd like to introduce our first speaker. He is a newly inducted pastor at Anchorage Lutheran Church. Please welcome Pastor Albino Kong.
My name is Albino Kong. I am a pastor here at Anchorage Lutheran Church. And I want to extend my gratitude to the Alaska Medical Project for their hard work and support that they are doing over in Fangak, South Sudan. I am here to give my thankful and my gratitude to them for being able to doing this for the Sudanese people. I'm greeting all of you here in Anchorage, and also I'm greeting all of you who are back home in South Sudan. Thank you. For the people of South Sudan, it is really, really helpful, because for them to see the American brothers and sisters going all the way to South Sudan and doing this wonderful work for them is really, really great. And I'm glad that so many of you are giving or donating money to this project, because the people of South Sudan are in need of services. They really want some help from the people here in America. In South Sudan, people are dying of diseases such as malaria or diarrhea. When people do not have a clean water, it actually makes it difficult for them to live their life in a good way. But if the village has a clean water, make their life a lot better. When you see people dedicating their life like this for other people, it brings a lot of hope to the people in the villages, because they know that there are people out there who cares. There are people out there who can help them out when they need help. So this clean water project brings a lot of hope to the Sudanese people who do not have anything, do not have water, do not have enough food, do not have enough medicine. The fact that there American brothers and sisters can go there and help them out, that brings a lot of hope. And the people of South Sudan would really appreciate you when you give the money for this project because it saves lives. It makes lives better. It makes a difference. On behalf of Southern Sudanese people here and on my behalf, and for all the people who are watching today, I'm giving you this blessing. Because you because nyam la bayred ba nyam la yen dial because ba ya gang ka ko ba de kel ye re gon kun dial te yentin. Thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Pastor Albino Kong. You know, I was talking to my son just before I came down to the studios tonight, and he said, this will be kind of weird for you, won't you? Because sometimes when you're speaking, you say something that's funny. And I said, well, every once in a while. He said, well, won't it be bad for you if you say something that's funny and nobody laughs? And I said, no, that's all right. I'm married. I'm used to it. Thank you, Debbie. She lets me get by with that stuff on occasion. Coming up next, please welcome the founder of the Alaska Sudan Medical Project in 2008. He's here to share more about the beginnings and ongoing work. Please welcome Dr. Jack Hickel.
Thank you, Paul. I'm Jack Hickel, and on behalf of the board of the Alaska Sudan Medical Project, I welcome you here tonight. We're excited to be here, and we're really glad to have you joining us. Over the next hour, what we want to do is we're going to raise enough money so that we can drill some water wells and start some agricultural programs in some of the most remote and impoverished villages I've ever seen. A lot of you have been with us since ASMP started 12 years ago, but some of you that are tuned in today don't know much about us. So what we're going to do is give you a brief history of who we are and what we've done. South Sudan is located in sub-Saharan Africa, just above the equator. In recent years, it was labeled the world's most failed state, most corrupt state, with some of the world's worst healthcare indicators, all due to 3 prolonged brutal civil wars. In November of 2007, I went to Old Fangak, South Sudan, a village of 4,000 to 5,000 people, invited by Dr. Jill Seaman, who has been working part-time in South Sudan for at least 30 years. She wanted to know if I could support her work in some manner. It's a village located on the Nile River on the edge of the largest swamp in the world during the rainy season. It's remote, no roads, so hard to reach, only reached by bush plane or boat. So it also makes it very difficult to get supplies into that area. Olfangak is in a forgotten part of a country that itself has been forgotten. Very limited infrastructure, no roads, electricity, sanitation, running water, little education, and only one 10-bed health center serving the entire region, run by Dr. Jill. And it's a health center which is constantly overrun by patients, many cared for outside under a tree. The disease burden in that part of the country is overwhelming. Malaria, TB, dysenteries, malnutrition, and neglected tropical diseases which you have never heard of. When I got back from South Sudan that year, I gathered a few people and we started the Alaska Sudan Medical Project in January of 2008. Our original goal was to build a new medical center and to drill a water well, which we eventually accomplished. But the longer we stayed, the more we became aware of 2 huge needs beyond just the overwhelming medical needs. One was the lack of clean water, and the other huge need was food insecurity. Which is an annual occurrence causing hunger and malnutrition, which is worsened by the annual flooding of the Nile River. Currently, the worst flooding in memory is happening, destroying huts, fields, and food sources. People have lost their homes and they're hungry. So we expanded our vision to drill more wells and start an agricultural program to expand the meager gardens into small family farms, providing them seeds and tools and foot pumps and training to local families with proper gardening techniques. In our first 5 years in South Sudan, we got clean water to several of the surrounding villages and helped establish nearly 120 small farms for families. Unfortunately, civil war broke out in 2013 and lasted for 5 years. Nearly 400,000 people died, half killed by the fighting. The other half died from disease and starvation. Millions fled to surrounding countries, and over 1 million others became internally displaced. Nearly 50,000 refugees fled to Olfangak, expanding the village size from 5,000 to 50,000. Why did they come? Because our village is remote with no roads, so the people felt the war would not easily reach there, which it did not. The other reason they came is because they knew Olfangak had a health center, clean water, and food in the market, which I am proud to say ASMP had helped to accomplish. Many of the refugees had never tasted clean, fresh water, had never had access to health care, and had not had food in a local market. Our village had become a place of refuge. But this flood of refugees, many of whom will probably stay in Olfangak, have drastically increased our challenges. So 2 years ago, we expanded our vision to include an area of approximately 30 kilometers around Olfangak. As we move forward, we will continue to drill more water wells. Currently, we have completed 23 wells in approximately 10 villages. And all wells are now being drilled entirely by our local village men whom we have trained. Our lead driller is from Kenya. What's really exciting is that this project is sustainable. We're not handing out food and handing out things. We have taught people, the local men and women of the village, they're doing all the building construction now. They're doing the well drilling. They're doing all the agricultural projects. They have ideas. They have the hands that are putting these things together, the boots on the ground, they're making it move forward. What we provide is oversight, financial and logistic support, and training. One of the big projects we accomplished this year, which is really cool, we've been working on it for a while, we built a TB and infectious disease clinic. I'd like to introduce to you David Kapla. He's an Alaskan who is our field director, and he's been the field director working with us for over a decade now. He's the one that oversees a lot of these projects and helps to get them done. He comes to you now from Nairobi, Kenya.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Virtual Wine to Water 2020. I'm here talking to you from Nairobi, Kenya. We're in the middle of preparing for 2020 fall season, more borehole drilling, more projects, and more fundraising needed. That's why we're all here tonight. I really appreciate everybody that has bid, everybody that is tuning in now, and everybody that's going to be watching this later. Couldn't do it without all of us pitching in, whether it is labor or dollars or enthusiasm. So thank you very much for sharing our message and helping us do what we do. Tonight, I'd like to focus on letting you know about the last season of our work and the completion of the Tuberculosis Center in Olfangak. The Tuberculosis Center has been a project that ASMP has been focused on since 2009, 2010, 2011. This was always in our vision of making happen. And wars have stopped it and floods have stopped it, but we have never stopped fighting to make better life in Old Fangak and get the buildings done that we need to do and get the people the treatment that they need. And that was accomplished in the beginning of this year. The sense of pride that the Old Fangak community has, the sense of hope, the sense of the future is now and happening, and our children are going to benefit from this, is alive in Old Fangak and is alive in the eyes of the people that visit Old Fangak and see what the Alaska team has done, especially with the TB Center. It is so massive. It is so modern. It is so clean. You stop and you are in awe and you realize that there is a better way in life than the past 200 years as we've been living it, and the change is happening now in front of us. Another aspect of what we're doing and what we have done, in Old Fangak, in South Sudan, in Jonglei, is that we listen to everybody in the community. Without a doubt, single most individual request that we've ever received is when a human being who is the largest human being I've ever seen in my life came to us and said, "Hey, you're David from Alaska team, yeah? You guys fix things. Can you make me a chair?" And I looked at him and I said, "There isn't a chair in this country that can fit you, my friend, is there?" And he said, "You understand my problem?" And I said, "Let me think about this." And we have materials, and sure, on a Sunday when we have some spare time, let's build you a chair. So now the Alaska team that came to drill a borehole and came to build a medical clinic is also making a chair for a giant and fixing crutches for lepers and doing what we have to do to keep the positivity, to keep the hope alive, and to show every day that that things can get better even when you're dealing with massive 8-foot 1-inch problems in front of you. Thank you all for bidding, for contributing. Have a great night. Drink some wine. Let's make some more water.
I want to show you one of the beautiful items. Item number 32 in the silent auction. It's this beautiful Yupik basket. One of the many items we have for bid. Also, I want to draw your attention to item number 115. It's a rail trip to Denali from Anchorage and back. And right now it doesn't have any bids on it. It's a $700 value, so be sure and check that one out. Just check all those things out in the live auction bids. We also have a unbelievable package from the Hotel Captain Cook in their wine cellar for 8 people, including champagne and 2 premium wines. It's a wine tasting at the Hotel Captain Cook, and you know what a good job they do over there. Now, please welcome. This is wonderful. My extreme pleasure to introduce Dr. Jill Seaman, live on Zoom from Bethel. Dr. Jill, are you there?
Hi. Well, thank you. Yeah, can you hear me? Okay. So thank you very much. I have a couple minutes, and there's absolutely no way I can tell you all the awesome things that have come from this collaboration with the Alaska team. But I thought I'd just mention about the buildings. I thought the building picture was going to be up, but it isn't. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to share my screen if it works, because I don't know how to do this. I'm going to try sharing my screen and see if I can put it up. Oh, I said share screen and nothing happened. Well, I'm not going to share my screen since it's not working. Maybe it is.
We see it.
There. Now can you see it? I hope you can see it.
Yeah.
The reason I'm showing this is because the Alaska team decided to, well, they've been planning to build this TB center for a long time. We have usually about 120 people getting treated for TB. 18% of them have spinal TB, which means their back is broken. And lots of them are paralyzed. When you're paralyzed, you can get wounds. And we try to keep people from getting their wounds infected. But in fact, most people live in mud huts. Most people are used to places that have only mud huts. So they're a little bit shocked when they see there's a place to stay with that doesn't have a mud floor. But having the ability to put someone who has wounds and is unable to walk properly in a building that is safe, secure, and can be clean is really, really helpful. And people are really, really happy to see this building. I cannot say that enough. People of Old Fangak are very proud to have this building in their place, in their village. But I want to say one more thing. I hope this picture is showing, because just like what Dr. Jack Hickel said, the people of Fangak, they do want to have hope. Health gives them hope. Water gives them hope. And once you have hope, you can take care of yourself. If you can see here, this is the TB building, but instead of just being bare ground that they've cleaned, the patients and our staff decided that you shouldn't have spare empty ground. So it's all divided among the patients to have this awesome maize harvest, which was actually quite phenomenal, seeing as how 80% of the harvest of the area was lost even prior to the flooding this year. This part was high enough that they were actually able to harvest all the maize that's there. So dual purpose, and people that really like to take advantage of having this hope for health and water. And I really want to thank everybody for making it happen. Thank you very much. And have an awesome Wine to Water festival for the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jill Seaman. See, now that's something you couldn't do if you were having a live event. If she was in Bethel, she wouldn't be able to be there and tell you all about the stuff she's doing. Very, very nice. Thank you, Dr. Jill. Once again, don't forget to check out the silent auction bids. And we're here to help solve problems for you that you might have. Now, one of the problems you might have is you look at all those things and you say, well, you know, I don't really think I need an old basket. I don't need a bottle of wine. There's a button right on the top that says donate. You can donate money. And that is a great thing for our organization, and it will help out tremendously. So buy something, buy nothing. Hey, I'll just tell you straight up front, we need your help. We need your support, and we thank you dearly for all of your support. Our next guest tonight is board member Rob Coolin. Rob joined ASMP 2 years ago as a volunteer. He is currently at Vandenberg Air Force Base, getting ready to send a private rocket into space. Depending on his involvement, I'm just wondering myself whether that makes him a rocket scientist. But first, the important things, helping people in South Sudan. Rob, are you there?
I'm here. Hopefully I can figure out the share screen here as well. Oh goodness, of course I have to actually have it switch over to, oh goodness.
You're on.
I am on. All right, so I am in, I have to turn on accessibility for Zoom apparently. Here we go. Okay, that's done now. Oh geez, this is horrible. We should have done this before. I actually have to sign off and sign back on to get this, so 2 seconds.
Actually,
yeah, if you want to skip and come back to me actually next one, Paul, because I should be able to share on the next go around.
you're gonna try and just throw it back to me?
In the meantime, while we're getting that, some technical difficulty music. I want to take this moment to remind you to bid on items. I can't remember if the auction closes at 5 or 5 after 5, but I know that it's important that you get those auction bids in. You can help make clean water, you can help build TB clinics, you can even help give a very tall man a moment to take a load off by helping these organizations build a chair.
All right, so thanks for your patience there. I'm going to show a little video that made here of the region, and this is about the trek that Jack and I did this year, trying to basically look for some villages that had come to us. So 22 villages come and say, hey, we really need water. And so we had to go and look at those and say, hey, how do we actually get there logistically? Like, how do we go get the drill there? How bad is the need? Like, how do we prioritize? I mean, 22 villages, it's a lot of wells. As unfortunately, these things aren't very cheap. And the region didn't even have a map, right? So you talk about what this area is like, and we talk about people coming like 100 kilometers to get to Jill's clinic. When the region is extremely remote. So anyhow, I think as we kind of talked about before, the region of South that we're in South Sudan has gone through like many years of conflict. It's like 60 some odd years of conflict on and off now, which has left a lot of different scars. You still see some guys in the region with some weapons and stuff, which really makes you feel a little strange when you're in the backcountry and they're basically out there literally just kind of on defensive, right? So it's just like scared that something could come up. But as we work in the region, you actually end up with more and more hope and more stability. So you give some of the people that we're looking for medical care, even just as David said earlier, a chair or a fixed prosthetic. You end up giving them something to go with. And I think, overall, it really strikes you, and you look at the amount of aid that has to come to the region, and you really hope that you can make something sustainable to get them off that aid. So we planned out a trip this year to try to go look at these 22 villages, traveling up the White Nile back to the village of Doriak, where the donors helped, you guys helped us drill last year, our first remote well. So to get to Doriak, you end up traveling up a river. You see the local fishermen, kind of like us in Alaska, right? Doing their practice out there, and trying to, the friendliness, I guess, of the guys on the river is always remarkable. And these are really tenacious people. You talk about these guys going up in the canoe and trying to get to their villages. I mean, it might take them a good 2 days going against the river in these dugouts to try and get there. So, we went up the river and back to Doriak, where we were last year. And the region of, I guess one of the things that was really special in that region was seeing the well that we'd put in last year. I mean, that was amazing to be in a place where you're drinking swamp water the year before, and now literally could drink straight out of that well without any treatment. And this was a well that we'd worked together with the villagers to try to make. And that was something extremely special to see them all contribute to bring together this water and opportunity for them. And walking, the other thing I guess that I was always really proud of and excited was seeing some of the agricultural projects that we're doing continue to grow. So, we were trying to train and spread agriculture in the region, but you'd actually see that happening on its own with the villagers actually starting to spread it to their family members and neighbors in the distant villages. It's a super dry region, right? So you just feel that you're in this, like, I don't know, Martian landscape or something, right? This remote place where it's super dry and then back to a swamp, and trying to imagine living there. I mean, it gets to your heart in a crazy way, but you get these people that are so happy to see you and have the opportunity that we bring to the table to maybe bring them water. As Jack mentioned earlier, even villages that no outsiders have ever been to, but that's the kind of water that they're drinking in these villages. And I guess one of the things that always blew my mind in a lot of that water was actually going and seeing who's carrying it. And it's the women that are often walking 45 minutes or more to some swamp and pulling out that swamp water and carrying it 45 minutes back, on their head every single day. And to try to bring that to at least some fresh water in the region and something that's more accessible just makes such a difference in the lives of, and then actually the culture as well, right? Because it gives the women a little more of a little more time, a little more health themselves. And you see how important these wells are. I mean, this is a well where all these people are coming and just trying to get the water that keeps them going. You know, and the playfulness of these people, they're so hopeful, and I think the tenacity of the people and of our crew out there trying to improve the region is absolutely wonderful. I mean, these are the local chiefs that were walking with us this year, showing us the 22 villages, helping us figure out where to go next. And I guess at the end of the day, you see the impacts that this makes on everyone's lives. And I just hope for these remote villages in the future to continue to bring these services so that little girls like this one hopefully have something a little better to bring home each day.
Thank you very much, Rob. And of course, I will stand in front of the bus for him. Okay, once again, thank you very much, Rob. And I will tell you that I'll stand in front of the bus for him because I think I actually hit a button I wasn't supposed to in here. And that's what delayed the proceedings there. So thanks for your patience. And thanks again, Rob. You know, it occurred to me as I was watching the video, we're here for this wonderful, wonderful organization. And what you really have to do sometimes is you have to really stop and close your eyes and think and imagine yourself there and imagine the situation. You see it in some of the pictures, but it's just incredible work that these folks are doing down there. And I'm honored to be a part of it. By the way, the gentleman that got the chair built for him, I have it on good authority that he is 8 feet 1 inches tall. And that would be difficult to find anything to sit in if you were that height for sure. Don't forget to use the donate button in the silent auction. And thanks again to all the companies and individuals helping out. Alyeska Hideaway Lodge, artists, John Van Zyl, Steve Gordon, Don Kolstadt, Michelle Zhao, John and Lynn Ann Eng have donated the chili feed for 12 people and many others. Thank you once and all. Now, Zoom, Michael Vinnigan, a volunteer and part of the old Fangak class of 2015. Please welcome Mike Finnegan.
Well, it's really great to be here, part of this virtual Wine to Water. My experience began about 5 years ago while I was working at Midnight Sun Brewing Company. One of my regulars happened to be one of the board members for ASMP, Rob Crotty. And he said, how'd you like to go to Africa? I said, where? Well, South Sudan. I said, sure. And fortunately, I worked for a group of great people who allowed me to take about a month off to spend time in Ofangag. It was quite a journey. It was quite a culture shock. Flying into Juba specifically was right out of the movies. But we were in Juba for only a day or so and then flew right into the village and set up camp right near the people in the village were just so warm and gracious and very, very thankful that we were there specifically. They said that our group, our organization was their favorite because they knew that most all of the money that's raised for this organization goes directly into projects there in the village. It was tremendously important to them. The takeaway I got was the unbelievable dedication of Dr. Jill Seaman. She's been there for nearly 30 years and just tirelessly in the village and only leaving to come back and work stateside here in Bethel, Alaska to raise more funds that she takes right back with her to Old Fangak. And the villagers there adore her. It's spectacular, the progress that's been made in the past 5 years since I was there. You can see in this photograph, I'm there at High Dinka, which is nearby the main village of Old Fangak, where we were drilling a well. The kids there's always a large group, about 15, 20 kids just hanging out near the drill site, watching us work. It was a fantastic experience, and I couldn't endorse your participation as a volunteer to go to Old Fangak and help out with this worthy cause.
Look what I happen to have right here. All part of a silent auction package from Midnight Brewing Company. Make sure, Midnight Sun Brewing Company, make sure you get over there and check that out. Thanks, Mike. So it does indeed take a team, ladies and gentlemen. And the head of our drilling program is a volunteer, and he's a board member. He's currently in Colorado, we think. I don't know what that means. He's a little hard to pin down, and we're not sure. But I just found out earlier that another one of our friends from Alaska that has moved to Colorado is tuning in and watching us tonight. So a big shout out to Eric. Thank you very much. And this board member is also a new grandfather, apparently within the last week or so. And that is a very, very exciting thing when that happens. So please welcome Rob Crotty. Remember in the old days when TV went off the air, you could be a test pattern. Maybe I have a future as a test pattern.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Rob.
Okay. Hopefully you can't see me, but you can hear me. That's good enough. But anyway, I will start over. Basically, I'm honored to be able to speak for exactly 2 minutes, and I've already wasted 15 seconds of that. I wandered into this program in about 2009. It was a great need for some help with the drilling program, and I was able to kind of get that started up and running with a gentleman by the name of Patrick Kamanda. I call him Kamanda of the Seas. He's a Kenyan, and he's a great friend of mine and a crackerjack driller. I'm a geologist. My job generally is to break drill rigs, to drill as deep as I possibly can. His job is to make sure that drill rig works and make sure that we get water. It's a great team. We just got a new drill rig that I'm excited for the team to try out. It's got more power, which means we can go deeper and we can drill faster and we get people more water, which is the whole intent. And with that said, I'm really proud to be part of the organization. I love the drilling team. They've done a wonderful job. They're all locals and natives, and they can really drill. They're really good. And just as an aside, I see that Ann is here. The first well that we were able to put in was, I call it the school well. It was at the school that Ann helped establish there. And while we're doing that, they firmed in the school, and there's this guy there. Now, I can't remember his name now, but every afternoon after we get done, we'd sit down in the schoolyard and we would drink Boon, which is a really a coffee with about half sugar, half coffee. Really good stuff. Make you a diabetic in a week, but it really just wakes you up. And we just talk about what we want out of this whole thing. And we both wanted the same thing. We just wanted to have a school for the kids and water for this village, and just to basically make everybody's life better. And we've been able to do that, and we're increasing, and we're doing a better job. And I'm really proud to be part of this. And I think my 2 minutes is up.
Thank you very much, Rob. I can't tell you how disappointed I was that we didn't get to hear the gender of your grandbaby. You could have gone over 2 minutes. I would have given you time for that. In any event, congratulations and thanks you once again. While Rob was speaking, perhaps you noticed our slide again of our sponsors. Again, thank you to each and every one of our sponsors. This event, this organization would have a hard time getting things done without their generous support. Our auction's going well, silent auction's going well, the donation's going well. We are halfway to our goal. And I got to tell you, if we don't reach our goal, Todd gets really mad at me, and then he might not invite me back next year. So please help me. So earlier in the program, you know that I asked you to get a glass, water, wine, your choice, your favorite beverage, because I am going to make a toast. And I'd like to offer a toast to this incredible project, to all the incredible people that have started it, that continue it, to all the volunteers, the donors, and the entire Alaska team. I also will toast the people of Sudan. You and I will probably never meet them, but you and I know they're there, and you and I know they need our help. That's what we're here for today. And so I want to toast to each and every one of you in the 11th annual Wine to Water. Clink. And yes, that was a socially distanced toast. As I've mentioned, we can only do this work with volunteers and donors. An individual who fits that description and has been part of the work in South Sudan is Ann Evans, who joins us from South Carolina. Ann.
Thank you so much. It is a delight to be here with you, even from afar. I'm at Lake Wylie, South Carolina. I've been knowing about the Alaska Sudan Medical Project since at least 2009, perhaps before that, and have been able to collaborate. It's a wonderful organization. I first went to Ofangak in 2009 to help Dr. Jill, and then met some really wonderful people. Because of our work together, we've accomplished major things there that are just not happening in other places. For example, with Jill there, we have a wonderful medical project, but she lacked a building that was really appropriate for healthcare. So the Alaska team came in, put up structures, did boreholes that brought clean water, and that is so important in diminishing diseases there. My background is as a nurse practitioner, public health specialist, international health consultant, and I can say that we've collaborated in a fantastic manner. In addition to the clean water, the healthcare, because the Alaska team was there, I was able to start a school that currently has 1,300 students in the day and several hundred adult students in the afternoon. This is an amazing combination for South Sudan. I really love going back to Ofangak because I'm immediately recognized when I go there. The people call out my name. They call me Lukel Commandial, which means a heart for everything, not just everyone, but everything. And I think that is exemplified, not just by me, but by the Alaska team, by Dr. Jill. It's the work from the heart. Not only does the Alaska team do their work, the boreholes, the construction, the farming project, but they become a catalyst for other projects. And that's the way that the school project has developed in the development of the Women's Center and the project with that, and the feeding program for the children. So there's so many ways that Alaska team is important. Not only do I contribute to my projects and Dr. Jill's projects, but to ASMP, it is a donation that I know that will be wisely used to help some of the most neediest, most appreciative people in the world. As Jill says, they only hope to live. And by our going there and the Alaska team's going there, they give not only help, but hope to the people who have lived through decades of war. So Friends, enjoy Wine for Water and give generously. It'll be very well used.
Thank you very much, Ann. Volunteers, they're amazing people. You know, they can hear from an idea, they can come up with the idea themselves, and they buy into it and they support it because they understand the importance. You're probably used to me by now, pouncing you for money. I'm doing it again. If you don't know John and Lynn Ann Eng, this would be a great time to get to meet them. They have generously offered a chili feed at their home for 10 people. Correction, 12 people. Item number 50 on the list, and it's an event that can be held in the spring or summer and socially distanced as needed. It's another nice thing. Make sure you get over there and check it out. Item number 50. Please welcome another board member of the Alaska Sudan Medical Project, the National Geographic Explorer and Fellow, and an Indigenous Peoples Scholar. This gentleman has been with ASMP from the start. We believe he's coming to us from Portland, Oregon. Please welcome John Waterhouse.
Well, good evening, everybody, and I'm glad you're here. I'm going to jump right to a share screen. We got a few things to show you tonight. Let's see if we can get this to work. Maybe not. Anyway, let's continue here while we can. Yeah, we're having technical difficulties, folks. Stick with me. We'll get us there yet. I promise. There, can you see my screen? Say yes. Okay, here we go. So when I first went to Old Fangak a long time ago, war-torn country, it was in bad shape. In Old Fangak itself, the morning sick call was many people in the hundreds, and they waited all day and night, sometimes 24 hours a day, to just get sick call for minor things or even big things. But then, about 10 years ago, I got the worst phone call of my life. The clinic that we'd spent 2 years building had burned. We lost everything. But through the action of people like you and some companies like DHL and Solar Stick and Franklin Graham Ministries, what happened? The clinic got rebuilt. And in about a month, we went from the anguish of Dave Kapla, our project manager, and night planning under headlamps, to a fully lit clinic, completed and ready for all the people that had the needs of this clinic. It was an amazing transformation. But where did we go from there? Success after success, with the support of people like you. Education on agriculture for these folks that had nothing. And now they have small farms that provide for them and provide for their families. Young victims of polio were provided with hand carts, more mobility than they've had in their entire life. And you ask about the water. Well, water wells have been drilled at least 23 times. This isn't a place where you have to drill, let's say 300 feet through dirt that's as hard as concrete. It destroys equipment constantly. But Rob has trained entire crews there in South Sudan to put in these wells, to provide people with water so we can see happy smiles like these 3 young people. The doctors tell me that we could prevent at least 50% of the diseases just by providing clean water for these folks. That's something that we take for granted here in the United States. There, it's a dire need that needs to be answered. But with all these successes we've had, the construction continues on new clinics and providing more help for these people because they are in dire need. So here we are. It's almost the holiday season. I'm going to ask you too. Let's open our wallets, open our hearts, throw out some money, and help these people really experience the hope and happiness they should have. This is that time of year. What are we going to do with some of that money? Heck, we're just probably going to buy something on Amazon we don't need anyhow. So let's do this. Let's get together and really help these people out and provide for them and cause great happiness and hope in Old Fangak, South Sudan. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, John. Inspiring words. So if you win something on the silent auction tonight, we're going to get it to you. It might take a little time. Most of you know Todd Hardesty. He's the brilliant executive director of the ASMP, and he's going to coordinate with you for either a pickup or delivery or shipment. As you can see in the silent auction, we have over 120 items. So it's going to take a little bit of time because apparently Todd does something else besides this. I guess he's got to eat and sleep too. So we'll feel just a little sorry for Todd. A man that needs no introduction, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Dr. Jack Hickel.
Thanks, Paul. And thank you for those that have already spoken and shared some of their experiences in South Sudan. You know, I've worked in many countries around the world doing medicine and healthcare. I spent 16 years in Swaziland, Africa, raised my family there, and I thought I'd seen everything. You heard Rob tell of our 3-day, 60. Almost got a jump start on that. We'll go into that video here in just a second. But you know, I thought I'd seen everything I could possibly see in Swaziland. In Mozambique, where I was also working, had a project there. I'd seen terrible human destitute, disease, malnutrition, starvation. Then I came to South Sudan in 2007. And South Sudan is the worst. The lack of infrastructure, the disease is just overwhelming. You've seen some of the pictures about it. The needs and the urgency there just overwhelms us. But it really hit home when Rob Kuhl and I took that 3-day walkabout to these villages. And that's when I really saw what really struck my heart, that we just need to keep moving forward and get this job done. You heard Rob tell of our 3-day, 60-kilometer walkabout. We were asked by several village chiefs to drill water wells in their very remote villages far away from the Nile River. So we got a chief, a guide, and a translator, and we walked from sunup to sundown through numerous, dirty, and I am sure quite contaminated swamps. At least one swamp was up to my neck. We came to one very remote village called Luwat late one day as the sun was setting. We started a fire, cooked our dinner, set up our tents. The next morning, the chief of the area, a very tall, stately African man, obviously a Muslim judging by his dress, had told us that there was no school in his area, no clinic. But mainly he spoke of the need for clean water. Now in the dry season, he had to move his village closer to the Nile River for water. Moving back and forth twice a year. As he spoke, he said that we were the first outsiders to ever visit his village. Ever. No outsiders had ever been there? Was this possible in this day and age? This was confirmed as we later were walking out of the village and a woman came out of her hut and she said the same thing. She had never seen an outsider there before. Even after my 16 years living in Swaziland, I had never experienced an unreached village before. It was a village seemingly untouched by the outside world. Poverty like I had never seen. And all they were asking for was clean water. Clean water so they would not have all the waterborne diseases which kill so many of their children every year. Clean water so they would not have to move their village every year to find water. And we will give them clean water with your help. I wonder how many other unreached villages there are beyond Luat. We hope to find out, maybe with another walkabout in the future, or maybe many more walkabouts. What we have found is needless disease, needless hunger, and needless suffering. But we can change that with your help. We are having a huge and powerful immediate impact on thousands of lives, or do I dare say tens of thousands of lives. But we cannot continue to do so without your help. What an exciting opportunity we have ahead of us to be able to go into some of these villages that have not been reached and touched, drill wells, put in agricultural programs. This season, like you've heard us say, we hope to do 6 wells and ag programs in 6 villages. Now is the time to get moving on this. You know, ASMP is known in South Sudan as an organization that went there, started in 2008, and we've never left. And just like Jill Seaman, despite 5 years of brutal civil war, we never left. Our team stayed there, continued to work. We're in it for the long haul. We're not going to give up. You know, I've worked with many organizations around the world doing work like this. But I can tell you that in all my time in Africa, I can say that there's not one organization that will spend $1 as efficiently as it can be spent in South Sudan. $1 has such a huge impact in everything that we do there. Your dollar is not going to be lost in some black hole of bureaucracy with high paid salaries for the people and expensive advertisements. Nope, it goes straight to meeting the needs of those people you see in those pictures. South Sudan may be a country forgotten by the world, but it's not forgotten by the Alaska team. Our team may seem a little bit crazy, a little rough around the edges, and I think that's probably true. But we love a big challenge. And I can tell you this challenge that we have with these villages that we've been to is a big challenge, but it's going to impact lives in ways that is unimaginable. We can do it, but we can only do it with your help. With you, we will move forward to literally save the lives of some of the poorest, most desperate, and most forgotten people on the planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jack. Well, we are nearing the end of our evening together. Bidding is almost over. Remember, the bidding will close at 6 p.m. on all the silent auctions at 6 p.m. Alaska Standard Time. And once again, if you're on the East Coast, you'll have to figure it out, but I'm going to say it's probably about 10 o'clock. See that? Without paper and pencil. So ladies and gentlemen, right here and right now, I'm going to ask you once again, this is something we've done the last 2 years at Wine for Water. And I'm going to ask you for donations to build a water well. As you know, it costs $15,000 to build a water well. So this is just an emotional appeal from my heart to you to help this organization and these wonderful people in Sudan. So I'm going to just ask the question, anybody see their way clear to donate $5,000? If you can do so, just indicate in your chat window. Most of you should have your group chat up already and you're following along and messages people are passing of encouragement and things like that. Just type your bid in there so we can give you a shout out and let everybody know. Of course, if you wish to do it anonymously, you can always do it just via the donate button. But if 5,000's maybe too much for you, how about 2,500? If you can spare 2,500 and donate to this great cause, just type in your chat window, let us know. Could also do so at $1,000 level. Anybody that wants to donate $1,000, just open up your chat window and let us know. We'll give you a big shout out. And believe me, this money is well used. $500, same thing, $250, $100. Any amount you can send us is going to help. So once again, if you want to type a message in the chat window, we can let everybody know right now who's donating. This is for the people of South Sudan. So, ladies and gentlemen, this just about concludes my portion of the evening's activities. I want to thank you all very much. This has been a great Wine to Water. Next, we're going to have Doctors Jill and Jack and Rob Coolin and other members of ASMP are going to stick around to answer your questions. They're going to have a little panel discussion. And while they're getting that set up, Kat Moore is going to play a little more music. And then the panel discussion will begin. Remember, the bidding ends at 6 p.m. Here we go, Rob Crotty. He's kicking in $2,000, and the grandkid is Owen David Galloway. Congratulations, Rob. Thank you very much. $1,000 from Tom and Sheila. Thank you very much. Rob Cullen donated $500. I think he might be a rocket scientist. Congratulations again, Rob. Having a grandchild is very much fun. Remember, the bidding stays open till 6 o'clock, so you can still have time. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul McGuire. It's been my privilege and honor to be your host for this evening's activities.
We got a 5,000.
We got a $5,000 donation. Beautiful. That's just fabulous. It gives me goosebumps to see you people responding in such a fashion. It's just near and dear to my heart. So my portion is signing off. And I want to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, always be good to the ones you love. Good night, everybody.
I want to say thank you so much to Paul and everybody for speaking tonight. And most importantly, thank you to everybody who just donated $5,000. That's fantastic. As you all know, the bidding stays open for another 53 minutes. You have 53 minutes. So if there's an item that you've bid on, please go back and bid on that same item for more money so that we can find and help to support the infrastructure in South Sudan and create more clean water. And it may be a tricky time of year, you know, we're in a global pandemic and it's been tough on everybody, I think, but there's no better time to really open your wallets and your purses and really help now, because we can see that to prevent disease, this clean water will stop 50% of the disease. So I wanted to share a song called Sugar or Salt, and it's a song of gratitude to all of you and for everybody who's out there helping. Is it sugar or is it salt? Either way, it ain't your fault. Days go by and I wonder when, oh, I could see your face again. Yeah, I I could see your face again. Now I play this old guitar. Someone bashed in your old car. Plastic sheet over the rear. Say, why do we live in a world of fear? Yes, why do we live in a world of fear? Time's been hard. Time's been hard on everyone. But we keep hanging on. Yes, we keep hanging on. We keep hanging on to sing our song. May your dreams be good when your days are not. May we wake up thankful for things we've got. No, we may not have everything. Yeah, we got each other and we can sing. Yeah, we got each other and we can sing. Yeah, they say life is bittersweet. Sometimes lemons are what we eat. But I know I'll make it through as long as I share my table with you. As long as I share my table with you. Thanks for sharing with us in South Sudan tonight. If you'd like to sing along, feel free. Time goes by, blink of an eye, and then it's gone. But we keep hanging on. Yes, we keep hanging on. We keep hanging on to sing our song. Yeah, we keep hanging on. We keep hanging on. We keep hanging on to sing our song. If you got it, feel free to sing from home. We keep hanging on. We keep hanging on. We keep moving on to sing our song. Thanks for helping us move forward with these projects, everyone. And remember, the most important thing about water is when a single drop falls into a lake, the ripples spread far and wide. Thank you so much for being here, but please, when you leave tonight, please tell your friends and your family members about the Alaska Sudan Medical Project and encourage them also to donate. Encourage them to check it out. If you're tight on funds but have a lot of time, look into volunteering and, however you can help. It goes so incredibly far. Thank you for opening your hearts this year. And thank you for having me here. And remember, update on time, you have 47 minutes. We're going to pass it back over to the doctors for a panel. But in the meantime, if you are the one who won your bid, go back and outbid yourself. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Kat. Really appreciate it. Beautiful music, beautiful singing. You set a great tone for the evening. Deeply appreciated. So we're available. I see Todd there. I see John is still there. I'm not sure who's on the very bottom there. It's kind of dark. But we are available to answer any questions that people may have. If anybody's out there, hopefully everybody is able to hear us and trying to get this open so we can answer any questions that might come up. So if you have any questions you need answered, go on ahead and shoot, and we will try to answer them. I think Jill was supposed to be on this. Who knows what happens from Bethel?
I'm here.
Oh, Jill is there. Hey, Jill, how you doing? Thank you for sharing so wonderfully. Appreciate that.
Jill, you're called Deborah Smith.
Yes.
Name says Deborah Smith.
How are you doing?
Who? Me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm good.
Good.
I just thought I'd tell Jill that she's kind of incognito because you don't know her face. She's got a different name.
Oh, she does. I don't know. I don't think Jill's name is up there, but yes, that is Jill. That's the amazing Jill Seaman, who has spent, oh, Jill, how many years have you been in South Sudan? 30?
31 this year.
31. Yeah, it's pretty close. Amazing. What dedication. For those of you that don't know, Jill has been spending her time between Bethel, Alaska, the big metropolitan area of Bethel, and the other half in Olfangak, South Sudan. Real dedication. Been an inspiration to all of us.
And very blessed.
And we are too. So do we have any people out there? Do we know?
There should be all in there, yeah. I mean, there's right now,
Okay.
looks like we've got.
So Jill, give us an update on the situation with the flooding going on now. How is that?
So this year, right before harvest, WFP decided that the flooding had caused about an 80% loss of the harvest. And then the flooding got worse. And suddenly people ran to our village, and the military were out making dikes so that people had a place to sleep that wasn't in the water. Can you hear me? Yeah?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, it was pretty awful. But now, as of yesterday, there's been 3 weeks with no rain. And so people are slowly going back home. But the problem, of course, is that their food got lost.
Yeah.
And the other problem with that is that Old Fangak, being right on the river, can sometimes get food from, for instance, North Sudan. But North Sudan just had a horrible flood, and they're looking at a major disaster for food as well. So now the idea of having food in the market isn't really a good idea anymore. Well, it's a good idea, but it won't happen anymore. So that's exacerbating the problem. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, that flooding has been, it's the worst flooding I've heard of in that area.
I have to just say, though, that the people that won this year's Nobel Peace Prize is World Food Program. And of all the UN organizations, although they still have a lot of paperwork, at least they respond. They're really good at it. So I think the prize was well-deserved. And they have already told us when they're coming back.
Yeah, good, good. So we're hoping to, I don't think Dave Kapla is on here. We hope to get him back in the village here in this next month. Our Kenyan well driller is going back in the next week or two to begin the process of getting the drill rigs serviced, maintenance, and getting ready to start drilling again. Todd, are you there? Maybe you can give us an update on that.
Hey, Jack, we've got a couple good questions actually here on coming through text. I might be able to read out, and I think you'd be a great person to answer this first one.
Yeah, okay, I don't see any questions, but yeah, any of us
All right,
can answer that, we can try. You bet.
So Kat is asking, if you'd like to volunteer overseas, what sort of time frame is most helpful for ASMP? How long should someone plan to go? And what kind of prerequisites should you possess? And if you wanted to inform friends and family about ASMP's efforts, what do you think we can do to best spread the word?
Good question. Actually, volunteers go, they help us with ASMP. They also can go and help with Jill as well if she has certain needs. If people are more medically oriented, Jill is probably the one to talk about there. If they want to do more of what we've been doing, we have people that have volunteered to help us. Well, just like yourself, Rob, with some of the skills you've brought, and Rob Karate and Dave Kapla, people with building skills, logistical skills, people with skills working in third world countries. I don't like that term. But if you have any questions in that regard, contact us on our website. Todd Hardesty, our executive director, whom I don't think his picture is up. We should have given him more recognition tonight. He is the one that has kept this organization moving forward in such a dynamic way. But you can always go to our website and connect with him, and he will get back in touch with you and answer your questions as to volunteers. Now, we operate, our national team is there year round, obviously. They live in the village, in the surrounding villages. Our teams go down usually when the rains quit. We usually have people go down there anytime between November and about March. The length of time to stay, keep in mind, if you're coming from the States, it's gonna take you, 4 or 5 days to get into the village from, say, if you leave from the West Coast, it's slow. So we like to have people stay a minimum of 2 weeks, and then it basically takes them another week to get home. You got to get a flight or take a boat. We used to take boats in and out, but that hasn't happened since the wars have diminished the safety of the rivers. The rivers are now safe again, but we're not taking boats in and out of the village to get to Juba or to Malakal to fly in. So we fly out with charter flights. And that happens, whenever we send a charter flight in, we'll take volunteers in on that. But Todd would be able to tell you when those charters may be organized for the upcoming season. But yeah, you have to plan on staying, being away from home at least a month. We have volunteers staying 2, 3, 4 months at times. Dave Kapla and Denny Weber have been there for months at a time. So a lot of experience there. But yeah, contact Todd. I see Todd's pictures up there now.
So next comment that's being shared is that Todd is awesome. So maybe Todd, you could give a good wave. I think everyone needs to give Todd a shout out for tonight. Awesome work. But then the other question that someone asked is, how is COVID affecting Old Fangak? And I would add on to that, do we have any idea how that's going to affect our efforts in the region as well?
So I was there up until the beginning of this month, and I have to tell you that South Sudan is fortunate. We live outside and we are rural. So you put the two together and it seems to help. I like to think that the civet cats and the bats that infested our area up until this year also might have given us immunity, but I have no proof of that. But we in Old Fangak, we thought maybe we saw one case. That was in, maybe end of July. But we really haven't seen anything that's happening. And since I am now in the YK Delta, where we have 100 patients a day turning positive, I've seen lots of COVID. And I can tell you we didn't have anything like this in Old Fangak when I left. If you go to Juba, occasionally someone comes in on an ambulance dead, but people actually don't come to the hospitals. And if you think about what might be happening, is either we're not getting as much as would make sense that we would get, especially for a country that has so little infrastructure to help you with basic good immunology in your body, good protoplasm. But it could be, I mean, that it could be that people are used to someone getting suddenly sick and dying before what we think is a normal time. 52% of all of South Sudan dies before the age of 15. So it might not be anything that anybody thinks of as abnormal that someone up and dies. So that's also a possibility. How it affects us is, I don't have the slide to share, but every once in a while they'll do things like close the border. And then for 3 weeks, all the lorries coming down from Kenya or from Uganda bringing stuff that's needed, food for people in Juba, they get stopped at the border. That's really a silly thing. They were getting stopped because of worry about COVID. But if you can imagine 30 kilometers of truck drivers who have to sit there for 3 weeks, they're going to go to the bars. That's probably not so good. So it's actually a disaster for them. But more importantly is that we can't get medicines and we can't get food. And that's what COVID has done to at least East Africa. And that's what I read. It's done all over Africa. It's just hard to access food. It's hard to access medicines. And that's probably the biggest thing for us as people, expats going. It could be a real headache because you have to get your COVID test before you go. You have to get a COVID test there in Juba. Sometimes they want you to wait 2 weeks. Sometimes they want you to wait 5 days. Sometimes they change their mind halfway through whatever you're supposed to be doing. So it's very confusing. And so nobody can tell you how long it's going to take, but the place is opening up now. So it's a lot easier for people to get in now than it was 4 months ago. I think that the Alaska team can tell you it was kind of a headache because when they were finishing this lovely building, suddenly there was a pandemic declared and they tried to close the borders. And how are they going to get their builders out? So it really did affect a lot of things. I'm sure other people have something to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Rob, was there any other questions up? I don't see any.
I don't see any right now. No, no more text questions up.
Okay.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Hi, this is Walt Hayes. I have enjoyed this presentation and was so pleased to see the clip of the mobility carts being used in South Sudan. I would like to give you an update on the work of Mobility Worldwide. I have been a volunteer and an advisor since 2004. The good news is that we have now produced 90,000 carts, which have been distributed or will be distributed in 104 countries around the world. Like many nonprofits, we are struggling, but we are strong and we are determined to face the future. The good news is that we have now have a fully functioning affiliate in Sierra Leone under Sierra Leonean leadership producing carts. And we are working with the United Methodist Church in Liberia to establish another new shop. The other good piece of news that I have to share with you is that we have had major buy-in by three corporations. Step 2 in Northern Ohio is a major producer of resin-based products. They produce toys, they produce wagons, they produce mailboxes, and they have made a major commitment of about $250,000 in design work and engineering to develop a resin-based cart, which is impervious to weather and humidity. And it is 30% lighter and 25% cheaper than our wooden cart. The other piece of good news is that the Bicycle Corporation of America, whose offices are in South Carolina, they produce 95% of all the bicycles for Walmart worldwide. They have made a major commitment to us and have designed a small cart weighing only 40 pounds with bicycle components that can be utilized for children. And we are now starting a program called Mobility in a Box. And we are going to make this cart available free for service teams, churches, Rotary, Kiwanis, Lions, optometrists, nurses, medical doctors, Habitat for Humanity, Engineers Without Borders, that can be taken with full compliance with airline regulations for size and weight. so that if a team is going off to make a vision mission or a dental mission or a building mission, they can take a cart along to serve a disabled child. So we think that is really quite a bit of progress as we look to the future. And we pledge to help you as the years come by. We think that we have the capacity to keep providing these mobility carts for children and young children and adults around the world who suffer from mobility. So it is a pleasure to work with you, and I wish you all the best as you proceed in your good work.
Thank you, Walt. Good to see you again.
You know, I just have to share, I guess, from my perspective, those carts have been absolutely incredible. I remember the first one I saw was from a leper there in town who has one, and seeing just the joy on his face of being able to move around with it was absolutely incredible. You know, he can't really use his legs at all. And to kind of have that disease is such a huge setback, but then just the giant smile on his face as he got in his cart and moved forward was absolutely amazing.
I can't tell you how awesome they are either. My patients are waiting now because I think Anne and the Alaska team and a group are getting some more carts. I have people lined up to get them. Well, not lined up, sitting up in a line to get them. They are amazing. They change someone from being a shut-in to being someone who can go visit their family, carry water, go to the market. It is unbelievable. So thank the Alaska team for bringing them and the mobility people for providing them. Awesome.
Yeah, I agree. They are an amazing tool that that those people can use. I think I see Linda Curta just checked in. Is that Linda there?
Been there.
Hi, Jack.
Linda and Dale, yes. How you doing?
Oh, good. We've been here all afternoon and into the evening. What an awesome event. And it's so great to see everyone. Todd, thank you. Walter, I met you years ago, and that you're still working on the mobility devices is tremendous. And I've been to Old Fangak a long time ago, 7 years ago, before the war. And your devices were there, and it just, a young man I worked with who couldn't walk, but he got all over the community. So thank you. And it's great to see my housemate in Bethel. I'm in Anchorage right now, but on my way back to Bethel in a few weeks. And it just, congratulations everyone on another year together and making such a difference. Jack, Todd, the whole team. I'm so proud of what's been accomplished there in clean water. Thank you.
Well, and so that the other people know, Linda Head and Dale have been great supporters over all these years. And Linda's been into the village many times and has done amazing volunteer work there. She's been a blessing.
Thanks.
And we hope some of the others will get a chance to volunteer and participate in various ways, because it really is an exciting program. And Jill's is too, obviously, but it really is having an impact on, like I say, on thousands and tens of thousands of lives.
Hey, Todd, you went to Doriac, which was the first remote well we did a year ago. Yes. I guess, what were your thoughts on your trip out there? I mean, you also got to do a pretty cool trek.
I think one of the things that's touching is when you walk from place to place, there are so many people, so many like little homesteads that are literally hours away from the villages. I mean, it's not like so we punch a hole in a remote village, and the people that are close to that location, they have that access. But there are people that are in 1 or 2 or 3 hours walk away, that we walk past their homesteads and in some cases see that they're entirely boarded up because there's nothing to drink, and so they have to leave their homes, and they have they go and find places. And so that's what one of the things that really struck me was that you can walk 300 or 400 yards or a half a mile, and there's a need right there. There's a need right there for those people. There's a need that for agriculture and for boreholes. And then you walk another 30 minutes, and there's another need for another group. I mean, it's like we could continue doing this 12 months a year for a dozen more years. We would continue to help people, and we would never run out of the need. The need would continue. It would just never stop. And it's like, and it's another thing that's very touching. It's the appreciation. So as I don't really do much, okay? I mean, I'm not like Rob Crotty, who has some expertise in punching in boreholes. I'm not like Rob Coolin, who has who walks an airstrip and can call the company and tell them, okay, you can land this size airplane here. I'm just a guy that shakes hands, says, Matle to people, and you just heard 100% of my Southern Sudanese. But I get so many thanks that people are touched. They're so grateful. It's like they're grateful purely for the presence. If you walk into these places and they, and they're thankful that you even came to their village. So when Jack and Rob and the others go to Luat, which we hope to drill a borehole there, do you know how much hope is created just by the fact that they walk there? Because then they have a recognition that somebody cares. And it's just like a constant, it's a constant. It's like every single time that I'm in Ofangak, or every single time I've had the chance to go out to these other places, I have the feeling of immense, the need that exists, but also the feeling of immense gratitude that we care enough to come and try to do something. And it's just touching. And I'm a kind of guy who cries at most movies, and so I could cry right now, but I won't probably. But that's what my sense is, that doing good work, and the good work is there will never be in my lifetime an end to the good work we can do.
That's such a good point. I mean, they brought up 22 villages, and then just seemed to add on them when we were there. And even in those distant villages near Luat, where it was the first outsiders, according to the villagers, you'd still hear, people knew about the Alaska team, right? And even these distant villages. It just seems like we have an organization that, with that local help, and just kind of being a super efficient, and we stick to our word, and we try to do these things, that we've really made a name for ourselves and a big impact there. But Jack, there's another, sorry, Todd, did you have something to add to that?
I did, because one of the things where I'm actually exercising my job as executive director is I meet with the chiefs. I mean, that's kind of expected. And so I met with the chiefs and the of Ofangak and the sub chiefs and the surrounding chiefs, as a group of about 6 people, and they're all grateful and thankful. Clean water is the #1 thing they requested, but they also requested this. They said currently you're going west with your work, so we want you to know that we expect you to go east also, and go south, and go north. So we're fine with you going west, but don't forget east and south and north. And so they're watching us, and they want us to, they're rooting for us, and they're wanting to help us.
That's such a good point. I mean, Jack was telling me about villages, I think 30 or something to the south, in a more watery region. And you look at, as you fly in airplanes over that region, and it's like there's little speckled mud huts everywhere, yet another village and another village. And a single village might go 30 minutes each direction. They're really, they're big places. Maybe it's only 1,000 people per village, but you might walk 45 minutes or an hour to get across the entire thing. Hey, Jack, so there's another question we have here, which is, how does it work with the partnership with organizations like Jill's, where we do some stuff separately, but also work with them. How do the separate activities work, and how do our donations get divided, or do they?
Well, Todd may be able to address that. No, donations, we do partner with other organizations, of course, with Jill's Sudan Medical Relief. We partner with the Camboni Missionaries, which is a Catholic group which is involved in education. We partnered with MedAir in putting in outhouses, pit latrines, and other organizations. Todd, you can mention Red Cross. What's the international organization? ICRC. Have partnered with them in terms of getting supplies into the village. Doctors Without Borders, the clinic that we built for Jill, the very first one, is now being used by Doctors Without Borders, Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF, and they're doing a lot of the medical work out of the building that we built. And so have partnered with them. In terms of donations, when you donate to ASMP, that money goes to our mission, which is water and agriculture and training. That's really our threefold goals right now. Todd, you can comment.
I would. Sometimes one thing that happens, like for example, the mobility carts. When a mobility cart comes, ASMP assembles it, and the people that are national staff will assemble it and help Dr. Jill if that needs help. To our crew, if there are repairs or things that are needed that we can help with, we, like for example, again, just at the compound or Jill's clinic, if Jill comes to us and she needs an incinerator built, she might buy the parts, but we'll go ahead and try to assemble it. And Ann Evans and her efforts to build the school, it was Stephen Ayul, our project or Old Fangak manager, who basically built the first small structure, but also facilitated the entire construction, finding the person that would come in and build the school. And so we partner in that way. And then Ann needed a water well at the school, or the Cambonis needed it. And so we partner in that fashion. And so yes, the donations that come to ASMP, we write the checks to the people that we're helping, but each of our organizations, basically, it's like, it's like we're not separate. We're doing our own work, but we're like this in terms of bringing the help and bringing the hope that we want to bring to those people in that community. And so it's really powerful. And I would say that if David were here, Kapla, that one of the reasons the other organizations have come in since we were in is because we stuck in Old Fangak during the war. And Jill might be able to say something about that too, because they would call David and say, is it safe to come in? We'd like to come in, but you guys haven't left. What do you think? And I think that, maybe Jill, you tell me whether I'm right or wrong on this, but I think our presence has contributed to other people, and your presence has contributed to other people coming.
So, yeah, that's easy to speak to. Yes, when the war restarted the Civil War of South Sudan started in 2013, the World Food Program is obligated to go find out what's going on with people who are in distress and cut off because of a war. And they couldn't find any place except, actually one of the MSF's, Doctors Without Borders, said that I and some other people were still in Old Fangak. So they called us. And when they came in, what happened was they certified the airstrip for the UN. And once you certify an airstrip for the UN, that means the UN planes come in. All of South Sudan has been developed where the airstrips were for the UN. And when they became independent, ours was not certified. So no one would ever come. And some of that is fine. We were rural. But once there's war wounded and once there's internally displaced, suddenly you need a lot. And because there are so many people, so many wounded people, or whatever has gone wrong at that particular year, especially causing the displaced people from the other areas. And so having an airstrip that was accessible and open to the UN helps so much, because logistically the UN will carry things for you. The first year's apparently for free. I never signed up. And now for about 75% of what it costs to charter. So it's actually the reason why other organizations can come and help is because there was the Alaska team and our team in the village. And so the UN hotshots could come in and establish that this was a safe place. But I have to also thank the national people very, very much. They worked very hard, including their military leaders, to keeping Old Fangak safe. They make sure there's no military installments nearby, because they really think the work that all of us are doing is really important. So it prevents us from being quite as big a target, but it also means that we're a little bit safer. And they work very, very hard on that. So I have to give them a lot of thanks for that as well.
Hi, this is Walt again. I just wanted to give you a footnote which might be of interest. Many of you may know that I'm an old beat up Methodist, and Methodist great passion has been education. While Baptists were building churches, we were building colleges and universities, 110 of them across the United States. 30 years ago, we raised the funds to build a university in Zimbabwe, African Methodist University. Some of you may know Tom Trotter, who was one of the architects of that effort. I happen to have been a classmate of a Korean bishop who raised the first gift of $1 million from Korea to launch that effort. But we all know that if we are to succeed, and if we take the long view, we have to develop indigenous leadership. Right now in Zimbabwe, at Old Harare, there is a campus with 1,600 students from throughout Africa. They are graduating 400 students a year in the colleges of theology, education, natural sciences, agriculture, and business. They are going out all over Africa to be the new leadership. And this is the people that we need to develop. I want to tell you about this for two reasons. Number one, they have developed, because of the diversity of Africa, they know that many of the students coming do not have English as their first language. It might be Portuguese, it might be French, it might be Afrikaans, it might be an indigenous language. So what they do, the first year, they put these students through an intensive English language course. You well know from all you hear on the media that if you have an English capacity, your income will double. And so those students then have this English intensity, and then they go into their field of study. And they are now fanning out over Africa to provide leadership in many, many areas. And I would encourage the leadership of the Alaska Sudan Medical Project to approach Africa Methodist University to see what scholarship help might be available for promising young people. This is the future. We must develop indigenous leadership. The other thing I wanted to suggest to you, many of you have advanced degrees in engineering, in business, in nursing, in healthcare, and other fields. One of the things they do at Africa Methodist University is that they provide opportunities for lecturers to help with the students. I have a dear friend in Arizona who just gushed about the experience of a friend of hers who had been on a nursing faculty and had recently retired. She went to Africa Methodist University in Old Harare, Zimbabwe, for 3 months. They provided her with an apartment and, of course, room and board. And she said she never, in her entire 35 years experience teaching nursing, had found a more motivated group of young people. And she just was thrilled by the way they responded to the classroom opportunity. So as you think about your years ahead, as you ease into retirement, if you have those skill sets, your talent might well be welcome and you could well make a difference in the life of future leadership in Alaska. Again, that's Africa Methodist University in Zimbabwe. They now are 1,600 students strong. They graduate 400 a year in 5 colleges, and they are really going to make a difference in the future of Africa. Thanks.
Yeah, go ahead, Todd.
I'd like to say something real quick because it's 11 minutes until the bidding closes on the auction. So it's important that anybody that's still with us that is wanting to bid on something, we take the opportunity to do it. I would also tell you is that we tell people how much we expect. I mean, that we want to raise 45,000. And then I can say for myself, so I'm very pleased if that number was actually 25,000, because you know we're trying to raise money and give you our hopes and our dreams, but with our sponsors and with the people who have told us that they're going to give the 1,000 and the 500 and the 250 this evening, probably via checks, and with the donations, we're currently approaching 40,000 for this fund. So isn't that crazy? I literally was hoping for 25, and we're who knows if more comes in, because there's a lot of people that are out there right now still watching this. We can hit that 45,000. I promise you, there'll be tears of joy. So thank you.
Well, whoever's outbidding me on my items, keep it up. You know, there's a few more comments here as well, which I'll just kind of throw out there. So we have from RJB Alaska a few things. I think it was good that we clarified how the organizations are separate. We work so intimately together with Jill, and we keep on saying ASMP, but we did, I guess, technically rename to, because that's just Sudan, to Alaska Health Project South Sudan. You know, I think kind of the key part that RJB highlighted in there was that, you know, building clinics and sanitation are also such a huge part of public health. So I think that's really highlights how they work intimately together. Another comment is about some of the work being done and the emphasis on training and loans and seeds. I know personally that's like a really important part of this to me. Talking to some of our drillers who really were excited about following up some of the well projects in these remote villages with seed and agricultural programs in the coming years can just make such a difference. And if we see that continue to spread on its own, as we've already started to with villagers teaching each other, it's really just going to make such a difference in the region for the overall health of the community. It's mind-boggling to see. But yeah, I think those are our ones on there. And then there's a call to let's make Todd cry. So keep bidding and keep the donations coming. Thank you.
Todd will cry. Todd will.
Can we get another $200 to make Todd cry, please?
I'd like to also just tell everyone who's watching is that you know, Jack had mentioned our national staff, but you know, Jill's national staff, of course, they're always in the village, they're always working, and our team is going. The first of our team is heading in on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, to start the construction or the well projects, and we just loaded a barge in in Juba, heading to Olfangak, and that will be having all the materials for six boreholes. So that just happened, and also foot pumps and watering cans and seeds and hose and shovels and all the things that the small family farms. We hope to have enough for another 50 people on this shipment, and if we have more funds tonight, then we'll do it for another 50 to 100 people. But that's happening as we speak, and the good work continues, and it's I know Stephen, our good friend in the village, is so happy. He told me he was, and I see Greg. Is that Greg Weber right there? Because it says Greg Weber. Shout out to him. He is one of our great donors who always wanted to wind the water. Now you're here with us, Greg.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and what a great presentation. You know, I live in Montana now. I retired from Alaska, and it's just a great opportunity to watch this.
Yeah, so good to have.
I do have a question for you about. I was about in the middle of a chat. Talk to me about loans, the loan program. I hadn't heard that before, so maybe I missed it, but I'm curious.
So our microloan program, essentially what we'll do is we'll purchase a rototiller or we'll purchase some heavier, more expensive equipment, and we'll microloan that to a farmer who has demonstrated that they have the ability to use it properly, take care of it, and also raise the funds needed so that they in turn can pay back that microloan. And we've done that successfully, really, for the last 8 or 9 years. We did have a break during the most recent conflict time period, but in general, the entire time we've been in Olfangak, we have bought equipment. It might be a boat motor. It might be actually our farmer Tayak. He bought an entire boat, like a big trader. I mean, I say a boat. I mean, it's a big metal canoe. It's like 20 or 30 feet long, right? It's a trader boat. He bought it and paid us back. And so it's been very successful. We're re-implementing it. We're getting more of that equipment that is needed, and those people who demonstrate the ability, then we work with them. And it's all about criteria of showing that you're able to do the work and you're committed to it.
Yeah, it's been very successful. We're still purchasing seeds for a lot of the new farmers, but with our new agricultural director, we're getting more into salvage of seeds so that these things become, ongoing year after year. They just keep using, their own seeds, so we don't have to keep purchasing that. The other thing really cool about what we're doing is we've trained the people to the villagers, men and women, to drill the wells, to do the building. And with agricultural project, you teach these farmers good techniques, you give them the proper tools and seeds, and then they teach others. They teach their kids and they teach others, they teach their relatives. And so there's always this ongoing need, but we see the people now teaching one another, especially with agriculture. This is key. This is key. This is not food drops to feed people. Sure, during war, you got to do that. But this is teaching people how to farm and feed themselves. And then they get their small farms big enough that they can sell things in the local market, which stimulates the economy. It's really exciting the way this thing is spreading. And as we get into these unreached villages where outsiders have never been before, because the war has kept people from getting into these remote areas, it's going to have a huge impact on developing these areas just through agriculture, clean water, and food. It's really exciting.
Jack, visiting the farms, it was pretty amazing to see the diversity of crops and the, different, I guess, nutrients you get from those compared to, say, the farm or even just some of the other local diet. So it seems to have made such an impact. But then also seeing that in the market, just the difference even in the last couple of years and the amount of produce in the market has been absolutely remarkable. I don't know if you or Jill want to comment on the impacts that's had.
Well, we've certainly introduced foods there that they haven't been growing traditionally because they haven't had access to the seeds. So there's more vegetables and things like that, which are popular in the market. And as our farmers grow more that they can use for themselves and their own families, then it gets sold in the market. And people have more access to this healthy food. Jill may be able to comment more on that if she's still, I think Jill is still here.
There. Well, I actually, the market has gotten big, and sometimes you can find a lot of stuff there, including what they've grown. It's going to be very difficult this year because of the problems. So I can't say for this year, but in the past I was able to get occasional fruits and things. But the best thing, of course, is my staff, who are part of the agriculture project, bring me food, and I love it. So that works out really well. And people are learning how to use the different foods, because there were a couple generations back, maybe people had some vegetables, but through the war, there was no way to stay in one place and grow them. So that went out of the diet, and people know about them. They know about the black one, which is an eggplant, for instance, but they don't know anybody who knows how to cook it anymore. So it's kind of nice to see those things coming back. But I want to say one more thing, and that is about education. We have about 8 people out in some colleges outside of South Sudan right now. And because there's a building and because there's good water, we were able to attract a doctor who is Nuer from this nearby area, who speaks the language because he grew up there. In fact, it seems I treated him when he was a little kid, some 30 years ago. So he's come back as a doctor because there is a building, because there is water, and because we're all still there. So it is working. So thanks, everybody.
That is amazing. I didn't realize he was one of your patients 30 years ago. That is unreal.
Either until he told me.
So we do have another question, which is, what are the telecommunications like in Old Fangak, which I think all of us that have been there would get a good chuckle on. And then just an add-on to Jack's point about farming, is that road, what is the road to economic stability? And I think just seeing some of that produce in the market is a great, one of the many first steps in that direction. But Jill, I think you should comment on telecommunications because it's rather fun.
The week before the Second Civil War in 2013, there was a group of people in Old Fangak trying to figure out where to put the cell phone tower because we definitely needed cell service, and they haven't come back. So that's where our telecommunications stand. And you can't do things like lots of places in Africa do that really, really help your economy. For instance, we call it M-Pesa, which means sending money by telephone. They're far ahead of places like the United States. You just get on your smartphone and send money to your uncle, and your uncle can go pick it up. You can sell a lot of produce someplace, then send money back to whoever was growing it so they can buy another hoe or whatever they needed. So without it, it really has a problem. But we do have the internet cafe right in front of our office. When we spend 1 hour and turn on the internet, and a gazillion people come and use the internet, and then we finally have to say, sorry, it's finished. But that is just an amazing thing, because when we turn on our little dish and people talk, they find relatives that they had no idea were still alive. So it's really amazing. And that, I know ICRC, the International Red Cross, is supposed to do family reunification, but when you have a dish and internet and people who are displaced who know how to use the internet on their little smartphones, you can do a lot of family reunions that way. And it's been really awesome. The Alaska team and our team share sort of an internet, and that's how we do it.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I think, one thing that has blown my mind, right, is you have this horrible internet connection, low bandwidth, and you'll have 30 people gathered around for that hour trying to connect on these, what we would consider probably pretty mediocre devices that they've managed to scrounge up. But how important it is to communicate outside, and the fact that you're able to offer that is absolutely phenomenal. And especially in a region that, there's no cell towers, there's really no other way. In fact, when we talk about telecommunications, I would say the communications in the region, there's nothing tele about it. Like when we have an eye clinic come to town, for example, you basically send the word out either by foot or by radio between the government offices, who then spread the word, and have people walk multiple days in to come to clinic, all by basically mouth. So that's, telecommunications in the region is really foot.
I was just thinking that one of the things that happened recently is that we were trying to get some money into Old Fangak, and normally what happens is, like, when a plane is coming or the United Nations, we have somebody traveling, we'll put money in an envelope and give it to them. But we had an emergency that they needed the money, and so our person in Juba called a person via satellite phone, I suppose, to one of the money brokers in Old Fangak. And we paid an extra 20 or 30 bucks, more than, but he basically was able to get the money, and then we gave the money to somebody in Juba, and the person in Old Fangak gave the money to the person in Old Fangak. But first time ever for me to actually do that. Jill had mentioned M-Pesa, which is very common in a lot of places, but not so much right now in South Sudan. But in an emergency, now we can get a couple $100 right now into Old Fangak, and it just cost us $220. So it's actually pretty cool.
And that was most likely through our internet connection and WhatsApp. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, probably.
You have every day. Yeah.
I'll share a quick story about how money was transferred when we first got there. We got a donation from, I'm not sure I should say, we got a donation from an organization to build the first clinic. And it was delivered to my son in a suitcase with $75,000 in cash. And, and he had to carry this suitcase around Nairobi till he could open up a bank account to put the cash in the bank. And yeah, that's the way money was given to us in the early years, cash in a suitcase. $75,000 of it. Yeah, it was kind of scary. Yep. Doing it by cell phone is a much nicer, safer, easier way.
So I just want to say we're at with all the other donations, we've reached 41,000, and if anyone's still with us is still willing to give more, I know that we have an indicator from one of the Robs that they'll give 200 if we hit 45K, and the other Rob is giving 200 to see me cry. And how about Mike Rimmelard? I don't know if you just joined us, but Mike's on board. A long time ago volunteer. God, good to see you.
Hi, Todd. Good to see you. I've been in and out, but we've been watching for a couple hours. Yeah, really good to hear all the news. Good to see Jill. You look great, Jill. You're ever going to get old? You just look the same. Jack, so good to see you. Rob, I heard Rob anyway an hour or two ago. Walt, good to see you. I looked up some pictures. I could actually share my screen. My son came in 2013 with me, and we put him on cart detail. They assembled some carts. I was actually able to find some pictures of your carts being assembled there in the village. I remember there was a man who was probably, I don't know, in his 20s, Jill would have known, but he scooted around the village just about as quickly as a dog. He had obviously lived his life that way. And I remember when we put him on a cart, he was like in shock. He just sat, he didn't, and everybody said, go. And it took him about a good 10 minutes to start to, I mean, he understood how it worked, but it was just so shocking to him. And then a few hours later, we saw him down by the river with family and so forth. And our hearts just swelled. And so thank you for that ministry.
So when Jack was last in the village, we put together a used cart, got it fixed back up, and we gave it to a young man. And we were there. I was there, and I was filming. And unfortunately, I can't share it with you right now. But I was filming when he got onto the cart for the very first time, and he crawled across the dirt, and he went over and helped himself up, and then did this to use the cart. And of course, he had a hard time using it because it was his first time, and upper body strength. And then a year later, coming back, and oh my God, just mobility. All of a sudden, the gift that he had, and amazing that we have this new clinic that's going to help the people that don't have the mobility currently, that can have a place to be treated. Thanks so much to Jack and others who donated so much to give to it, and to Dr. Jill for implementing how it's going to be working, because it's just an amazing gift for the people.
So exciting to see that TB clinic. Last time I saw it, it was just posts in the ground. It's amazing.
Yeah. So we have a good momentum here towards making Todd cry. Cried tears of joy. We know the $500 towards this monumentous event.
Well, that happens to be from my daughter, by the way. And yeah, I'm gonna cry right now. It's beautiful, though, isn't it? It's so beautiful that there's so many people that are here with us, but also just I'm the guy that opens the envelopes right when a check comes in, and I see that somebody who was with us in 2008, who contributed to the very first clinic and then took a break from helping, and all of a sudden donates again, or someone who has not donated for 5 years, or some people who donate every single year to and they've never been, and they don't necessarily even attend the functions, but they give so much, and to see firsthand how it helps them is such a gift, blessing. So we're so touched. Okay, and so I'm touched, and I think that it just makes a huge difference. It's gonna be shocking if we don't reach 45,000. I don't know. I'm gonna give you some tears pretty soon.
We got another 500 from Joe, Heather, and baby toddler.
That's my son.
You seem to get a theme here with your family.
Toddler is my hi Joe, hi Allie, hi Heather. But Joe and Heather are going to have a baby in April, and toddler is not his name, but toddler is or toddler, no toddler, toddler. And so shout out to them for some help, and thank you.
Yeah. Jack and Todd, this is Tom Barrett and Sheila. Can you hear us?
Yep.
Yes, Tom. Good to see you.
Yeah, Jack, we so admire what you do. And Todd, by the way, he delivered meals to us today from Marx Brothers. The meals were outstanding. While you guys were talking, we were actually eating filet mignon. So
It was great.
it was great. So I have a question for Todd. How much are you short of your goal?
We're
Go big. Go big.
give me 2 seconds. I'll tell you the truth because it'd be easy to lie to you.
Take a lie.
We're at
Let's lie big, Todd.
we're at
Careful, Jack.
39, Todd.
3,800 short of the 45.
Say that again.
3,800 short of the 45,000.
We'll do that. We want you to reach your goal.
I can't really cry right now, though.
Okay, so I'll go online and hit the donate thing for that amount, and but it's just, we're here in Alaska. We have a good life. Our family's scattered, but I've been to Africa, but I admire the people that go to make some. People there are so warm and welcoming and so impoverished. We're so fortunate. We got Thanksgiving coming up. We're grateful for so many things in our life, and Jack, we're grateful for the work you do, and Todd, we're grateful for the meal you're delivered. So in any case, we'll go do that, and hopefully you'll find a few more folks to put you a little bit over the top. But thank you so much for everything you do, and hopefully you can keep it up.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Sheila. You guys have been a blessing to our work there for many years, and we deeply appreciate your ongoing commitment. You guys are wonderful. Blessings to
No,
you.
we're happy to do it. You guys take care. We're going to sign off. We're going to go. Well, I won't quite sign off. I'll figure out how to do this, Todd. And if I miss it up, then we'll sync up and make it happen.
You can give me a call. How was the Cabernet?
The Cabernet was good. We had two different bottles. The California was a bit better than the Oregon.
Okay.
So no surprise there, but we enjoyed it. And the food and the instructions worked perfectly. It was a great meal from Marx Brothers.
President and CEO.
Yeah, it was wonderful to watch you all in action as we had our dinner. You can see our table behind over on top. I said, nice little table for us.
So we worked out, for those who are questioning, we worked out a deal with the Marx Brothers, and those that ordered in time today was delivering all across Anchorage wine and fillets and halibut, all prepared by the Marx Brothers. And
You were wonderful, Todd. Thank you so much.
I'm thankful that you had a good time.
Oh, yeah.
We did. And thanks for all you do.
I want to give a shout out to Meade Treadwell, who I see, because he opened his home, and we had a terrific fundraising event and raised a lot of money. I don't know, it was $30,000-$40,000 at his house to build the TB clinic, and critical to our success. And I also want to do a shout out. There's Elsa Hobbs is joining us. You can see just the more her window than her face, but she has been a volunteer behind the scenes for every Wine to Water recently that I've been part of, and she's the first one to call and say, how can I help? And it makes a difference. There, you got some tears.
So Todd, Jack, Jill, we look forward to a time we can all have you back and make Todd cry again. And Jill, on your telecommunications business, you or Jack or Todd, give me a call. There may be some ideas, some ways we can help you as well. There. So thank you.
Eden, thank you for your support all this time. I think it was you that helped set up one of the first UN flights into Olfagak, as I remember. Is that right?
I think so, yeah. And we got some others we should send. But yeah, Jack, I love what you do. By the way, last year we bid on and won the Year at the Athletic Club at the Captain Cook. We may have to start paying dues to the Captain Cook. I'd much rather pay it to the Sudan project. So, but anyway, it's thank you for everything.
Thanks, Meade, for all your help.
Yeah.
We'd love to get you over to the village one day. Keep it in mind.
We will do that.
Good.
Just got to get. Yeah.
And somebody, looks like Kat Moore said, I just wrote a thank you verse for everyone. May I share it? Certainly. Kat, where are you? You still on there?
Yeah, I'm still here. It's been so inspiring to watch this all go down. So I was still listening, I promise, but I learned this song real quick, which is one that you'll recognize, and then I just wrote a few quick verses because they felt like a little more appropriate for what we're here for today. Imagine there's clean water throughout South Sudan. Health and education. This shared fate in your hands. You're helping all the people by giving here today. Imagine no civil warfare. The river's safe to pass. Nothing to kill or die for. Villages that last. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Oh, they may say you are dreamers, but you're not the only ones. I hope someday that this Zoom will be 17 pages long. And we'll be joined by everyone. Thank you so much, everybody out there. I was literally jumping for joy behind the screen back here when I heard that we hit the $45,000. That's incredible. Thank you so much, everybody. This is incredible.
Thank you for helping us reach it. You're very good.
I think unless we have more questions, this might be a good time to sign off, but I'm not in a hurry, but if we have more questions, we can certainly answer them. But everyone here that has helped us, and everyone who is not currently watching, but what a blessing that that a virtual event can exceed or meet or exceed the what we had hoped, and this will truly change. There's so many lives in places that have not been touched. It's really terrific.
Yep. Yep. And a thank you to Todd for being such a great executive director, for taking us to the next step. And I know he has helped the board get vision for taking it even further afield from Ofangak into other unreached areas. The challenges are great. We're going to make it. We're just going to keep moving forward. Thank you, everybody, for all your support.
I don't know how to end this.